Hello, Star Citizens. Welcome to kind of a rare occasion for us where we're actually going to go through and we're going to kind of dice apart this Ironclad, the Drake Ironclad video, and kind of try to catch on to some things that are happening while we're going through the video, okay? So, we're gonna play the video. I'm gonna be down at the bottom, but I am gonna pause the video, so I'm letting you know that's the kind of video it is. And I'm pausing it for a reason. I'm not gonna pause it just to be like, oh my God, that's cool. I'm gonna pause it for reasons, right? Because I think we're gonna get more information about it, but we still have to wait a whole nother day, right? So you should be seeing this video on the 24th. We're not gonna get information on it until the 25th. So I feel like we can, you know, kind of do some stuff in our head to kind of prepare for the information we're gonna get. But this thing is, it might be a game changer, and I think that's why it deserves this kind of treatment. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this month's videos so that you can be entered to win the MPUV tractor. That's the ship we're giving away this month. It's happening in a few days, folks. So if you're not subscribed, this is a great time to get subscribed so we can see if we can win that ship. All right, so let's get into it. The Drake Ironclad, AKA the Fatterpillar. And I'm gonna call it that. The last time you hear me call it the Ironclad, now it's the Fatterpillar forever. Okay, all right, let's go.
It's part 2 of our Invictus Launch Week coverage as we look beyond the event to the new offering being unveiled at this year's Drake DefenseCon, the far superior brand excluded from the usual Invictus festivities because it's too damn cool. I said it, and I'm tired of pretending it's not true. Drake for life.
These sentiments were recorded in April before that rap beef stuff, and Disco would like it known that K. is king. Hashtag Westside. Also, that David is the best.
It's
Woohoo!
J. Cole, but
now we resume the program.
We'll let it.
Let's force John Crew to talk about it now.
So in the Star Citizen universe, we have a lot of cargo ships, but they're sort of concentrated around the lower end of cargo hauling, sort of the low hundreds SCU and below, and the very high end where there's multi-thousands. There's a mix of cargo ships which have their cargo on the inside, ones on the outside like the whole series, and we really wanted to bring something different where it sort of sits right in the middle. It's a nice progression step and facilitates both internal and external loading of cargo, which is where the Drake Ironclad comes in.
Drake Fatterpillar. It was right there. That's all they had to do is just call it that. I mean, the news alone.
So the Drake Ironclad is the kind of next step up for Drake cargo ships. It kind of builds on what the Caterpillar brings, but in a much larger.
Okay, they specifically said it builds on what the Caterpillar brings. The Caterpillar has, what, 500 and something SCU? This looks to be at least twice the size width-wise of a Caterpillar. So my guess is it at least doubles what the Caterpillar has in it. Also, it doesn't have the walls in between the modules like the Caterpillar has. So I'm also guessing that it'll be a little bit more than double what the Caterpillar can carry. But let's continue.
Form.
The Drake Ironclad is a 6-person multi-crew armored freighter. A large proportion of the ship is dedicated to the...
We're stopping here. All right, first, 6 people, 6 crew is pretty good. It also makes me wonder if I'm right about that size thing, because I would feel like this would be like an 8-person crew. But maybe it has some remote turrets and it has some stuff that, you know, I'm guessing that it has like some turrets that are like those like auto turrets or something like that. But the reason I wanted to stop it here is so you could see how you see the mule, you see how the mule fits in there. You could fit 3 mules side by side if you look at this, it looks like you can fit about 3 mules side by side. So you can do some math with that to figure out, you know, how many other things you can fit in there. But that's pretty good. That's pretty freaking good. Because again, we don't know how many SCU of cargo this thing has. I'm guessing, I'm gonna just put my guess out there. I'm gonna guess it's about anywhere from 1,500 to 3,500. I don't think it's gonna have as much as the Hull C, but I think it's gonna be anywhere from 1,500 to 3,500. So my guess is about 2,750. But we'll see. But yeah, another thing that I noticed, if you look at the people that are standing on it, it is a gigantic ship, but it's also not, it doesn't look like it's so large that it's, you know, going against the likes of the Kraken or something like that. It looks like it's, and another thing, it's landed on the ground, right? So it's obviously okay to bring an atmosphere, as you would want a cargo ship to be able to do. So being able to bring a cargo ship that can carry 1,000 plus SCU of cargo and actually land it on a planet and then go out, I think is going to be great. And I think this is where the SRVs will come in one of their secondary capacities. You'll be able to, of course, help larger ships get out of the atmosphere. Now, I don't know if this thing is going to have VTOLs or what, you know, but I'm sure it'll be powerful enough to get out of the atmosphere on its own. But like I said, SRVs are great for that. All right, continue.
Cargo bay at the front of it, which has both a front ramp for loading and unloading cargo and small vehicles on the ground.
All right, stopping here. So a few things to note here. So I think that's the ramp that we were looking in earlier, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, one of the things that's cool to notice here is that up top, if you look here, I think this is going to allow you to, I think that's going to be one of those beams, those tractor beams that you can use to kind of move stuff around internally, like a crane almost, like a crane tractor beam sort of thing. So it's going to allow you to move a bunch of stuff around. Now I'm sure somebody's going to get on Reddit and they're going to stack these up before the day ends and tell us exactly how many SCU is going to be in this thing. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. It looks like there's a lot of space in there, and it looks like you're going to have multiple tractor beams, because this one right here looks like it's a tractor beam, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's one on the other side as well, unless these both are on the same track and they both kind of go up and down like this motion. I can imagine these sliding along a track, both of these. So we'll see, because that would make the most sense. All right.
As well as a retractable roof for doing that in space with EVA as well.
Little tight entrances to cargo ships doesn't necessarily lend itself to when you're out in deep space and you're trying to quickly move some cargo from one person's ship into your ship. Really, you want as much kind of access to be able to do that as you possibly can. So by having this kind of much larger opening on top of the ship, it allows us to kind of bring cargo in much easier.
All right, pausing it here just so we can kind of take a look at the layout. Okay, so we know there's an entrance here. They're going to talk about the rest of the parts of the ship, but I think this is really important. So there is a way to get into the ship via ladder, it looks like. So there's 2 entrances at least. Also, if we're looking at these, now I'm going to guess these are 32 SCU cargo containers. So that's 32, 32, 32, 32, which would make that, what, 128 SCU. So 128, that's stackable at least three high, right? So 128 times 3 is what, 400 something, or 370 something, or 380. And then if we multiply that, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can fit at least 4 of those in there. So yeah, I think we're looking at the thousands as far as SCU, and that's just some, just basic. Obviously, they're trying to show us some relative thing there. So I do think we're looking at the thousands of SCU space for this. And I didn't say this at the beginning, but I think there's gonna be some real competition from the for the Liberator. So I think this is going to be in direct competition with the Liberator. Liberator can only carry 400 SCU as of now, and we also don't know if this thing is going to be cheaper or more expensive than the Liberator. But
so its role being a sort of armored freighter comes from two distinct ways. One, the cargo itself is more protected. It's within the cargo bay that has the armored roof section that covers it. So unlike, say, a Hull C where the cargo's on the outside, you can load it from the outside but then protect it with the Ironclad.
It's also more heavily armored than the Caterpillar, so it kind of gives a little bit more security to your kind of precious cargo.
Okay, so I want to stop just for a little bit. The armor thing is key because we know Drake's ships are known for being kind of glass cannon type of ships. So this one, especially with a name like the Ironclad, is probably going to be super heavy on the armor. And you could see it right here. It looks like it's killing a freelancer. So freelancers aren't that hard to kill. So, you know, but it's good to see that it's capable of killing something. I didn't hear anything about missiles, so it looks like it's going to be very turret driven. So let's see.
The exterior is very classic Drake brutish styling, a whole lot of engines and a lot of framework and quite thin structural elements support the rest of the ship. Very bare bones styling. It doesn't have lots of nice padding. It's all there and exposed, and it's really just sort of rugged and to the point. So the Ironclad is really three distinct areas. You have all the accommodation in the rear sort of third of the ship. The front 2/3 is really just this cargo bay with the front entrance and the retractable roof. And then you have the command module, which has seats for the crew plus a few little jump seats for everyone else. Command module is there to steer the ship when it's attached, and the command module serves as the escape pod as well. The only time you really want to detach it is in an emergency. It's not designed to be your sort of primary ship flying around.
Okay, so just like the Caterpillar, it has a command module that detaches. Again, like he said, it's not something you're going to want to fly around in. It's just something that you can detach if you need to. One of the things I like about this idea is this idea that maybe we'll be able to detach our command module from our own Caterpillar and our own Ironclad, our Fatterpillar, and we'll be able to attach it to somebody else's. You know, maybe that's a thing, you know, and if you can do that, it'd be like a quick steal. Like maybe, what if that's the gameplay that arises, is like, if you take yours off, somebody can attach theirs and fly off with whatever's in your ship. That would be crazy. So some emerging gameplay maybe there. But yeah, pretty cool.
It kind of gives you a little bit of a get out of jail free card if you're transporting stuff that is quite valuable, quite sought after in maybe some of our less desirable systems. What it allows you to do is kind of have a little bit of security. So if you're getting attacked or you're getting yourself into trouble, if you want to save yourself, you can kind of jettison your cargo and try and get out of Dodge and kind of get out of safety. And I think that's like a really important thing as we get closer to Death of a Spaceman.
With some of the recent tech that's come online, this brought us one step closer to implementing command modules properly. So not only will you see this detachable command module feature on the Ironclad, but as well it will happen on the Caterpillar.
Interior-wise, you've kind of got two entrances onto the ship. You can either enter via the command module, and that takes you straight into a kind of corridor section.
All right, I want to pause here. I know he's talking about he's going to go through the whole thing. But it's very important to count these seats. So I saw 2 seats as we were going.
Kind of like, almost like a mezzanine.
And there were 2 seats in the back. So I just I'm counting seats, you know, because I want to make sure I get this sense of like, why is it 6 people?
You can either go up to the habitation area, which is top floor of the ship, gives you like super nice views out both the kind of...
All right, just a quick look. We got 1 bed there. Okay. So it looks like this might be the captain's room, because there's only 1 bed in this room, so could be. Or maybe the other crew rooms. Looks like maybe a bathroom over there. So yeah. Pretty cool.
Cargo out the front and the rear of the ship, or you can kind of come down the ship into the main habitation area. Alternatively, you can enter through the dock and collar airlock, which is on the opposite side of the ship.
So this room is actually a similar room to the one in the Fatterpillar. You could see the screens up here. So we kind of know what this room is. This is kind of like the it could be like a rec room kind of thing here.
At the rear of the interior of the ship, we've kind of got the hub.
All right, so it's telling you where your parts are. Looks like they're very well co-located. You got power plant, quantum drive, jump drive, power plant, shield generator, cooler, and I don't know what this is down here is. I don't know what this green thing is here, but it looks like one little hallway to run back through. That's pretty cool. If you're an engineer, that's fairly easy.
Part of the engines, it's the big kind of engineering area where we've got all of the kind of main functional components needed for moving such a large ship. And then
okay, the green thing was the battery. You know, I've talked about batteries before. Batteries are going to be a major part. I think they're gonna be the next like component thing that you can like purchase. So I don't know how they're gonna do it, but yeah, batteries. You saw it. They had that marked out. It was shaded green. It's a separate piece, so it's obviously not just some, throwaway thing. So engineer gameplay. I think in 4.0 we're gonna get batteries.
Then if you kind of come slightly further forward, got we call it the kind of like the command deck. It's not a bridge. You can't fly the ship from it, but it's where you operate the.
So this area is really cool, okay? It's the command deck area, and it's like, you can kind of see everything that's happening on the ship from here. It looks like it's got a little screen for you to see like engineering stuff, and then of course you can control the tractor beams and stuff from here. So nice view. It looks like this is gonna be a really cool area to be in.
The tractor beams, it's where it kind of gives you good views out over the front and into space. You've got the tractor beam turrets, but also, visually you can kind of stand in this area or sit in this area and look out over the front and over the bow of the ship and kind of really see what you're trying to pull in or what you're trying to capture.
I just noticed something. All right, I don't know if this is what they're doing, but they could be using a lot of this same stuff for the Crucible, the Anvil Crucible. Now, I know this is a Drake ship, so let's just get that out the way. This is a Drake ship. But if you go and look back at the Crucible video, I have a Crucible video, go and look at it. Look at the front. You could see the front here, and then look at this internal area here where you would normally be fixing a vehicle. Right? This is where you would be doing repair on a vehicle in this area for the Crucible. And then this upper area where you can look down and see everything. It looks like they took a lot of that from the Crucible, which I'm glad they did. Crucible's an awesome looking ship. So I guess this is like, what if the Crucible was, a cargo ship? It's pretty cool.
Into your cargo hold. As we come downstairs, we've got a little kind of covered area at the rear.
Now, this part is important too. It has dedicated spots. It looks like those are mules. I'm not 100% sure what those are. But I think those are Drake mules. So it has dedicated spots for mules where it doesn't look like it's even taking up cargo. And it looks like it has space for like some extra. So it's gonna be a weird number of cargo, I think, because I think it's gonna have like spots back here and back here where you can like put little boxes or smaller boxes, and maybe it's gonna have some shielded cargo areas to keep prying eyes away.
Rear of the cargo hold, and that is where you can store a couple of small ground vehicles or some of your equipment for moving vehicles and cargo around. And then you're into the main cargo hold of the ship, and this.
Now I'm looking on here to see if they kind of reveal to us how many SCU this thing has. I don't see anything. The number they have on that thing, it says deck 03, and then it says 630. I don't think that's it. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna find out. I was just hoping I could just find something out, but doesn't look like they let that one slip.
Takes up the majority of the interior space is this large cargo hold. One of the things that we were kind of really keen to do was give lots of different views and different angles down into this cargo hold. Again, as we're exploring slightly less lawful systems, we wanted to give the players as much opportunities as we can to kind of be safe aboard their own ship. So either side of the cargo hold, we've got these gantries that run completely front to rear on the ship, and they give great view down into your cargo bay. They also give that opportunity of, if there's someone tries to board you via the cargo bay, it gives you some nice cover opportunity.
That's actually really a great idea, because you'll have the high ground on people who are trying to board your ship from the back. This would be a really stupid ship to board, by the way, just because everybody can see you boarding it from the back. I don't think the people in that command center will be able to shoot you, but they'll see you, obviously. And most people are gonna be in this area. I just don't. It's gonna be a stupid ship to board, but people are gonna do it. But yeah, that's having those gantries is
opportunities, and we've also got a few little windows that kind of look down into it as well. As you move to the kind of like the very front, the very nose of the ship, those gantries lead into a kind of secure cargo area. It's somewhere that's a little bit more difficult to get to when you kind of enter the ship. The big thing we were referencing when we were looking at it was this idea of police evidence.
That's what, okay, so I was wrong earlier. Earlier, it looked like those little areas back there. It looks like you can store stuff back there, so it is gonna have a weird number, but you can lock up cargo containers in this top area. That's gonna be pretty cool. That's gonna be pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that before. I don't think I've seen that. So, what's the point of that, right? You want to lock this stuff up so people who are jumping on your ship can't just grab it and run away with it, right? But I also wonder, would they, I mean, however you got it in there, would they be able to get it out the same way? Because it looks like you could just take it off the top, but obviously this is a top-down view. It doesn't have a ceiling on it. So, yeah. There's got to be, I think hacking gameplay would come into play there.
Rooms, so these kind of individual cages where you could put your most secure cargo, whatever it might be, in this area, and it would make it quite difficult to try and breach in or out of that area. So it gives us just somewhere a little bit more secure for kind of smaller cargo items. Finally, at the very front, we've got access to one of the main turrets and the tractor beam turret.
The biggest attraction for me with it is just the versatility of the cargo space. From a good citizen law standpoint, it is a cargo ship, but also that retractable roof and the tractor beams on board it give it some less legal opportunities for perhaps taking other people's cargo ships in space and on the ground.
Notice what he said, taking other people's cargoes, ships in space and on the ground. So wherever it must be that these tractor beams are going to be super strong tractor beams. Maybe we're talking like some size 6 or size, like some max size tractor beams. Because it's looking like you're going to be able to take anything that you can attach to this tractor beam, which is really freaking cool. So yeah, I can imagine, popping somebody one of the very key uses for this. Think Overdrive Initiative if you've done them, or like bunkers, right? You show up to a bunker, there's like 25 ships laying around. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting there because somebody died and left it there, but it's a perfectly fine ship. It works, right? Imagine popping 2 or 3 of those into this thing and then going to get your vulture and just eating up these perfectly fine ships and then taking them back or selling them. I'm sure there'll be a black market for ships or something like that. I mean, but you could skip all that and just, strip them and break them and crush them. And I mean, I'm just saying that this is opening up some game possibilities here.
At the time of recording, we're also exploring a more military-themed variant of the Ironclad. It doesn't have a name yet, so we'll just call it the Drake.
Ironclad Assault.
Ironclad Assault, the Fatterpillar Assault. We got to come up with a name. The Salt The salt Fatterpillar. We gotta come up with another name for that one. I'll be in the lab thinking of one. But is this the one? So this must be the one that they're talking about, because it's yellow, and I love the yellow. The yellow is awesome. I just got done talking about how awesome that is. It looks like it's got more weapons on the bottom, but because I don't think these guns here, which have 4 guns on them, holy crap. And I don't think this turret, I don't think these 3 turrets were there, so maybe that's what it adds the 3 turrets.
Compared to the base ship, this has been developed to support ground assault operations. It has additional turrets covering the upper and lower surfaces to provide more fire support, and the front section of the cargo area has been redesigned to enable our largest vehicles in game to be deployed from it, such as the tank. In addition, the cargo bay has been reduced in size to facilitate a...
Okay. Now, this might be the one to get. So the other one obviously will carry more cargo, but I would rather be a threat as a cargo ship than carry a little bit of extra cargo, because all those extra turrets, looked like it was like 3 extra turrets, and I could be wrong about that number, but it looked like it was 3 extra turrets, plus you can still fit 4 tanks in there. It looks like actually 5 tanks. There's a tank back there that's like taken apart or something. So you can fit 5 tanks in that thing. That's still plenty of cargo. I'm trying to think. You can fit, what, 4 tanks in a, I think you can fit 4 tanks in a C2, right? Pretty sure you can fit 4 tanks in a C2. And I think that maxes it out. So this can fit 5 tanks. So this is probably still about 800, 900 SCU. So I'm wondering if the other one is like 15, 1600 or something, and then this one is 800 or 900. That is a significant amount of cargo to lose, but that extra firepower, man, like if you get into something crazy, you're gonna need that. And I wouldn't run this with less than 5 people, so we would all those guns would be manned. So yeah, but this one might be the one to get. We gotta wait though. We gotta wait, see what happens.
Onboard repair facility. So for those of you who want to...
Oh, wait a minute. It has an onboard repair. Oh, we just settled that. 10 seconds later, we have settled that. It has an onboard repair facility. Now, maybe the Ironclad will have that too, but I didn't see that. So that onboard repair facility must have been where that tank had the top off. So onboard repair facility trumps extra cargo already for me. Now, it might not be that way for you. Maybe it's going to lose so much cargo that it's going to be like it really is going to be a solid choice. I mean, if it's like 2,300 cargo versus 800 cargo plus a repair bay, then maybe that's a choice you have to make. But I'm trying to think of another ship that carries 900 plus cargo, or maybe it's let's say 700 plus cargo and has a repair bay in it. Not coming to me. The Crucible might end up carrying a bunch of cargo like that, but this seems like it's it. But is nobody else getting Crucible vibes from this? I mean, look at this ship. It doesn't have the full, crab look thing to it, but man, this thing really, it strikes me as like the Crucible Light. But it also doesn't look as big as I thought it was. I think I thought it was like 3 caterpillars wide. It might be 2 caterpillars wide. Which still would be, over 1,000 in the SCU space. But this, I think, is the other variant. This is the, I don't think this is the regular Ironclad. I think this is the Ironclad Assault. So, yeah, I think it might be a little smaller than I anticipated, but still, even if it's twice the size of a Caterpillar, that's solid.
To have a journey in the cargo profession, traditionally you'd start out in something, say like a Hull A. The next step up from there really is sort of into Drake Caterpillar territory. So you're doing roughly an 8 to 10 times jump in cargo capacity. From there, the Ironclad sits nicely between those smaller ships and the much larger bulk carriers such as the Hull C, and then ultimately you get to things like the Hull D, E, and Kraken at the end of the cargo career.
Okay, he's probably going to go in and talk about the Kraken a little bit, but that's very important. We know it has less than 4,600 SCU because he said that's the next step up. So we know it has less than 4,600 SCU. That's good. Now, we know it has more than 576 because it has more than a Caterpillar, because he said this is a step up from the Caterpillar. I don't think they would do a step up if it was only 200 SCU more, so my guess is it is in the thousands. So I think we're right. You know, if they said smack dab in the middle, so if we kind of split the difference there, then it's about what I said, which is like 2,500 SCU or something like that.
You said Kraken.
Yes.
Is that a hint at anything?
It's not a hint at anything, but making the Ironclad makes the Kraken easier.
So building out the Ironclad does, of course, kind of help us with building out the Kraken. I think increasing that visual library of assets that we can pull from and use in a Drake manufacturer at the right scale is super valuable for when we move on to the larger ships.
Of course, in non-Drake related news, players in this year's event probably noticed the long...
I'm gonna pause right there. The reason I'm pausing is because I think that's the end of the Ironclad thing. So we're probably good on the video portion of it. But one thing that I'm noticing about this ship is the size is kind of hard to tell, but I'm thinking it'll be like around Carrack sized. So it's the idea is, when people were announcing this stuff, they were saying, oh, there's like a Corvette coming. So I don't think the Carrack is quite Corvette sized. So I think it'll be a little bit bigger than the Carrack, but not by a whole lot. I think it'll be like noticeably bigger. Like if you put them next to each other, you can notice it's bigger. But I also think it'll be taller in its capacity because it won't have all the other things that Carrack has in it, and it's obviously a lot more boxy, so it's a little bit more efficient with the internal space. So I think we're looking at about that size. It's obviously not Kraken sized or none of that. I don't think it's Idris sized or anything like that. So yeah, I think that's what we're looking at. A little bit like longer than the Carrack, thicker than the Carrack, taller than the Carrack. By probably a magnitude of like 1.5.
Long-awaited
Oh yeah, that's it for the Fatterpillar. That's it. Yeah. So I just wanted to go through and like just talk about the things that I noticed. Leave a comment down below if you notice some other stuff. We got a whole other day to wait. They're making us wait for DefenseCon. I mean, I know they have to release everything a day at a time, you know, a slow drip to keep us interested and all that. Yeah. But I want the Ironclad. Like, I wish they would wait and save these, you know, until like the day that they're gonna release them. Like, I want to see the commercial the day before, so then it's just one day of anticipation rather than two. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for spending your time with us. Peace.